about starting a podcast? Don't. Not a public one anyway. I want you to think about starting a private podcast instead, which you're obviously doing, and that's why you clicked here and are listening to this right now. Maybe even a secret podcast like I did. So in this video, I'm going to tell you why a secret podcast might be the most strategic thing that you could create right now in your health and wellness practice. I'm going to tell you who it's for, who it's not for, because this is not for everyone, believe me. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to set up a private podcast step by step, which is surprisingly simple. So if you want to build trust with the right people and you want to start converting them into clients on autopilot, evergreen, without posting on social media every day, which is not the life, by the way, this is going to be the strategy for you. I am Andrea Nordling. If we have not met, I help holistic nutritionists and health coaches to build profitable, sustainable businesses without burning out and without relying on social media, which I feel very passionate about. Recently, I have created a huge asset in my business, which is my secret podcast. It is called The Profit Path. And in the Profit Path Secret Podcast, which is a short, powerful, evergreen podcast that lives inside my welcome sequence and my free course, my people get a lot of value from me. But it is one of the smartest pieces of evergreen content I've ever made. I'm so excited to share this with you. And I'm going to explain exactly why I created this private podcast, which I'm calling a secret podcast. And I'm going to walk you through exactly how to create one for yourself in 6 simple steps, if and only if you are ready for it and it's the right move for you. So, by the way, if you want to binge mine, this private podcast of mine, again, it's called The Profit Path. And if you want to see what it looks like in real life, go grab my free course. It is linked up below this video or in this episode if you're listening to the audio version, or you can go to theprofitablenutritionist.com/free. And then when you sign up for the free course, you are going to get access to the Profit Path private podcast. Kind of a secret that you get when you sign up for the free course. The free course, by the way, is 14 days of content that's dripped out in daily emails. That's how I deliver my free course. But the secret podcast is the full content of those 14 days in audio form that you can just listen to immediately. You can just listen to the whole thing right away. Don't have to wait for it to get delivered over the course of 2 weeks. So in this private podcast, we are going to hang out together for a long time. I'm going to be on a walk with you. I'm going to be in your ear when you're in the carpool line or you're commuting or you're doing dishes, wherever it is that you listen to podcasts, and you get the full strategy for building a profitable wellness business in your AirPods the entire time. So like I said, link to sign up and get an idea of what the heck is a secret podcast, what is this even like, is in the description of this episode, or go to theprofitablenutritionist.com/free, sign up for the free course, and then you'll get an invitation to go binge the secret podcast. So why a secret podcast? Why a private podcast? What are we even talking about? The thing that you need to know about a podcast in general is that it is, in my opinion, like the holy grail of content. And I say this as I'm recording a YouTube video, which will also be repurposed onto my audio podcast. And YouTube is wonderful. YouTube probably is the actual holy grail. However, I'm going to make a case for an audio podcast being the best way for people to get introduced to you and introduced to your philosophies and probably get nurtured to become clients of yours. And the reason for that, I don't know if this is scientific and I don't know if this is backed up by data, but this is my experience as someone that has been a podcaster for almost 4 years. And so I want you to just borrow all of my good thoughts about audio podcasts. Here they are for you. People that listen to podcasts are into self-development. If someone is listening to a podcast rather than listening to the radio, it's because they want to better themselves. They want to learn something. They want to spend that time on something productive that is moving them in a direction of their goals. So that is someone that's highly motivated to take action already. Okay, so I think podcast listeners are like a notch above the general population because they're already trying to solve problems for themselves. They're probably pretty goal-oriented. People that listen to podcasts also tend to work out. They go for walks. They're doing things out in the world, and those are the people you want to work with, right? People that are already out and about trying to solve their problem or make their life better. And I just think that this is a great way to do it. So instead of waiting for somebody to watch a video of yours, again, kind of hypocritical considering I'm recording a YouTube video right now, but instead of waiting for somebody to be sitting down watching a YouTube video, I can be in their AirPods. You can be in their AirPods in a private podcast audio form, and you can be on the go with them, which is what makes a podcast or a secret podcast, which is what we're going to talk about here, so powerful. So I just want to be very clear that like the case for audio long form content is a big one. It's a powerful one. It's a strong one. I would go to court over this and I would say audio podcast all the way. Also, anecdotally, I know that a lot of people that join my program, the majority of people that join the Profitable Nutritionist program, tell me that they came from my podcast. They were referred to my podcast by somebody. They found the podcast. They just like searched in Spotify for nutrition business podcast. They found mine. They listen to the content. They're like, oh my gosh, this totally aligns with the way I want to run my business. And they end up joining my program. So it is a super effective way to communicate what you believe, what your philosophies are, what you boldly proclaim, and what your processes are, and who you help and how you help them, and all of the things that make you amazing. It's a great way to explain that in a systematic way. And the right people are going to move forward. And the people that aren't your ideal clients, they're not gonna keep listening. They're gone. They're out, which is the way it should be. Hopefully they find somebody else that can help them better. So I want you to think about the potential of having a secret podcast or a private podcast like a welcome email sequence, okay? But it's like happening in their earbuds. This is why it works, because they are getting a lot of trust with you, okay? Long form content means they're spending a lot of time with you. Long form content could be blog posts, long form, emails, long form, video, YouTube, long form audio, podcast. But long form is where you really have an opportunity to explain the way that you feel about things and why in a nuanced way, which builds a lot of trust. Again, the right people are coming closer, and the wrong people are like, nah, not for me, no thanks. Great, okay? We want to repel the people that aren't your ideal clients, and we want to attract the ones that are. So you get to spend a lot of time with your people. This is also important because long form content we know is maybe not a prerequisite. That might be a little strong because people hire people without long form content. However, it is a big trust builder in the buying process, especially in the day and age that we are in right now, where people are exploring digitally and vetting people digitally and trying to figure out, is this somebody that I would want to spend money with? Is this somebody I want to spend time with? So a great way to test that out is by spending time with you in their AirPods, okay? So all that to say, private podcast in general is a great way to connect with your people. It is, in my opinion, the most powerful form of long form content, but that makes it sound like I'm saying go start a podcast. I'm not, okay? I am not, because podcasting is not for beginners, mostly because it's not sustainable for most business owners, especially if you're beginning in your business. Consistently creating podcast content, high quality content that's going to engage your people and move your business forward and be a good return on your investment of time, it takes a minute. Ask me how I know this. Again, I have podcasted for almost 4 years. And I committed for the first year of doing my podcast. I was like, if this doesn't grow my business at all, if this does nothing for my business whatsoever, that's okay. I'm going to do it for a year. I'm going to stick it out for a year. So I consistently created at least one episode per week in my audio podcast for an entire year before I reevaluated if I wanted to keep going or not. I did want to keep going, okay? It was a great return on investment in my time, both monetarily and because I got so good at talking about how I'm different than other solutions on the market, how my philosophies are perfect for my ideal clients, what my processes are, what I believe about business as a health and wellness entrepreneur, which is very different than what a lot of people believe. Okay, I'm not the social media influencer by any means. I don't even have social media. I think that it actually is really detrimental for most health and wellness businesses, which I talk a lot about in my podcast. So people that want to be really active on social media, they want to be Insta famous, are not going to follow me. And they know that by listening to my podcast. All right, so I'm making a case here for who a podcast is for. Somebody who can consistently create content and who has something to say in their content, meaning they're already established enough in their business that they're confidently saying, I can help you to people, okay? They're actually helping people. They're working with clients. They have some traffic to their website or to, it could be even to their phone, people sending text messages. People are interested in what you're doing. This is not a starting point at the beginning of your practice to go, oh my gosh, I'm going to go launch a podcast, whether it's a private one, which is a limited run podcast, or it is going to be a public one. No, absolutely not. It's not the first thing to do. However, if you already have some traffic, maybe you already have an email list, maybe you already have a website that you're getting some traffic to, maybe you already have some sort of social media following. That's not my forte, but for a lot of people it is. If you've already got some marketing going on and you have some momentum, then it might be a fantastic idea to think about taking everything that you would put into an email welcome sequence, or maybe what's already in your email welcome sequence, where you introduce people to you, to your story, to your expertise, to your processes, to your philosophies, to all of the things that make you magical. Maybe doing that in a private podcast or a secret podcast lead magnet, which is what we're talking about here, would be a good idea. But I have to just clarify by saying this is not a starting point. If you don't have anything created in your business yet, that means you probably haven't talked to many potential clients and understood what their objections are. You probably don't know what their questions are. You probably don't know what the problems are that they think they have, which are likely very different than the problems that they actually have that you will educate them about. But you don't know how they're phrasing those things. You don't know how they're talking about those things. You don't know what solutions they're actively looking for because you haven't had enough two-way conversations yet. And that is actually where your private podcast or secret podcast content is going to come from. It's going to come from those questions that people ask you all the time. It's going to come from those big objections that your clients have when they're thinking about hiring you, but they just aren't sure and they're vacillating and they don't know if they should get started yet or not. You know what those conversations are. Well, those are the objections and are the points and the problems and basically the talking points that you are going to create your private podcast episodes from. So if you haven't had those conversations yet, if you don't have traction in your business yet, you don't even need to be thinking about this because it's just a little bit too advanced. It would not be a good use of your time. But my friend, if you do have some eyeballs on your stuff and you are having those conversations, then I think that this could be actually a very good use of your time. If you're a student inside the Profitable Nutritionist program and you're learning how to do this and you're getting more momentum and you're getting more people that are paying attention to you online and in person, then I hope your ears are perking up. If you are not already in TPN, by the way, that's exactly what you learn how to do. So we teach you how to get more traffic and more eyeballs and have more of those conversations with real humans so you can learn what their objections are and you can answer their questions and you can field those and you can figure out, oh my goodness, they think their problem is this. I know it's this, but I can't talk about it in these words because they don't understand that. I got to talk about it in these words because that's how they're describing it. Anyway, we teach you how to do that in the program. And by the way, creating long-form content in any medium, whether that's written, in emails, blog posts, audio, like a podcast, or video, wherever it is that you are making long-form content, which is not like an Instagram reel, okay? Long-form content is you really creating an outline, you're talking through the points that you want to make. You are thinking really critically about the ideal person that's going to be consuming it and how you can connect with them. When you're doing that, you are going to get so much better at your messaging and your marketing and your business. And it's going to just come so much more naturally to you. And every conversation that you have in person at your kids' sporting events with other parents that are there, or at holiday parties, or with coworkers, or wherever it is that you're out in the world just being a human with other humans, you're going to be so much better at talking about your business and talking about the problems that you help people solve because you will have done it so many times and it's just going to be second nature. So for a lot of reasons, creating long-form content is top-notch priority, in my opinion. Again, that is not where to start in your business. You just got to start talking to the humans and saying the words, I can help you. But once you're past that point, it's going to get you so much better at how to talk about your offer and the results that people get when they work with you and the type of clients that you work with and all of those things, okay? Just you'll be so much better at simplifying your concepts and talking about them more concisely. All right, so hopefully I've given you a few things to think about and you're like, all right, how do you actually do it? So let's talk about it. How do you create a secret podcast? I have 6 steps to do it. First of all, I've mentioned this already, but I will always die on this hill. Have an outline. Don't overthink the outline, but have an outline. I don't think that you need to necessarily write a script, although for an audio podcast, you certainly can. You can work off of bullet points or you can have it fully scripted out. If you already have an email welcome sequence, by the way, that really does a great job of connecting with your people and clients are coming from it and people hit reply to those emails and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. How do I work with you? If it's already working, then you could just read those emails in an audio format and call it a secret podcast, make it a private podcast, and give people the option of listening to it, basically listening to your email welcome sequence instead of waiting for it to drip out over time, which is exactly what I'm doing. So this can be a really juicy lead magnet in your business because you can go deep on solving one particular problem in a secret podcast. For example, I got someone's secret podcast, another business coach, who was teaching a very specific strategy for evergreen marketing. And she did it in a secret podcast. And I was like, ooh, that is something that's exactly a problem I'm trying to solve right now. And I really want to hear what she has to say about it. And so I listened to an hour and a half of her secret podcast. And I knew by the end of that, if I aligned with the strategies that she was teaching, if I wanted to work with her and exactly what type of client she aligns with, and was I that person or not? I was able to filter myself in and out so easily, but I didn't have to wait to get a bunch of emails over a week or 2 weeks. And I love me some emails. So I just want to be super clear on this. My entire business has been built on email marketing. I love emails, and I think that it is really nice to have a skip the line version for people that are impatient. I happen to be one of those, and they just want to get all the information. They're like, okay, I found you. I'm interested in what you have to say, and I want to know all of it right now. I'm about to head out in my car and run some errands. And if I could just be listening to your secret podcast while I go do that and learning more about you while you're already top of mind for me, I would love to have the option to do it. So that is who you are creating the secret podcast for, okay? Think of this like a lead magnet where you could teach something really specific, really nuanced. You don't have to give your people the homework to go solve every problem they have in the secret podcast, but the way that you are actually teaching and the way that you're presenting information here is going to have people connecting dots they've never connected before. So that's what I mean when I say you're teaching your philosophies, you're teaching your processes. What you are doing is you have the floor, okay? You have all of the time in the world, and you have the format of your choosing to explain to people why the problem that they think they have might not actually be the problem that they have, and how you have the solution that's even simpler than what they've been trying to do so far. Because that's probably true. For most of the clients that I work with, they work with clients that think that they have really complicated health problems, and actually they need to be working on some foundational stuff. That's going to clear up a lot of it. So this is your opportunity to talk about that if that lands with you, okay? You can solve something very specific and have like a very specific tangible result that would be a great lead magnet for a secret podcast or a private podcast, or it could be more general. You get to decide, but basically you are giving people the skip the line version to learn everything that they need to know about what it would be like to work with you and make a decision on doing that. You also are going to be liberal with your calls to action for them on how they take the next step. So early and often in this secret podcast, you are going to tell them what the next step is, how they work with you. What the next step is, how they work with you. What they need to do next. Oh, this is how you work with me. This is what it's like when you work with me. When we work together, it's going to be like this, and here's your next step. Don't be clever. Don't try to wait until the very end. No. Liberal calls to action. Tell them exactly what it's going to be like and what their next step is. So to do that, you have to have an outline, all right? Step one here is have an outline of these episodes. There is not a magic number of episodes. It's not like, oh my gosh, how many do I do? What do I have to cover in each one? You get to decide. Having a little coffee chat with ChatGPT might be a great way to flesh this out if you don't already have something solidified. But this is a version 1. Also, don't try to make it perfect, okay? This is going to get edited. It's going to sound beautiful by the time it gets produced. Don't overthink it. If this is going to take you longer than a day or two to outline, and I mean, when I say a day or two, I don't mean like a full day. I mean like a couple of hours in a work session to outline what you want to say, then you're overthinking it, all right? You need to know who your easiest client is, what are the problems that they present with, and how do you talk about those? How do you tell them what the solution is that you offer? How do you talk about the results that they really want to get and the reason that they hire you and how you're going to get there? These are the things you're talking about. It's really not that complicated. We try to make it complicated. Don't. Simple, simple, simple. Like you are having like you're sending a voice memo to your dream client, okay? That's basically what's happening here in your secret podcast. So do that in an outline, get it out there, and then get going. Okay, your outline is basically your welcome sequence in audio form. This is step 2. Think of it like that. 5 to 10 short episodes is plenty. Just get them done. I was just talking to a client of mine today who said, oh my gosh, I loved your secret podcast idea and I just recorded mine. It's like 6 to 9 minutes per episode. There's less than 10 of them. I feel so good about it because I am showing up in a way that's going to make it very clear for my ideal client what we do together and what the next step is and if they're a good fit. It's like perfect. All right, address those real problems that your best clients have, that they're already searching for solutions for. Present it to them in an easily bingeable, consumable way. I know that people have a negative connotation on the word binge. I get that. I've said it multiple times here in this episode, but like that's the word that comes to mind. It's like, I just want all of it. I want to know right now. Give the impatient people what they need. And in these episodes of yours, by the way, your welcome sequence in audio form, use stories, use client examples whenever possible. Give some hot tips, but don't throw in the whole kitchen sink, okay? They should not be listening to these episodes and thinking, oh my gosh, I should be taking notes. Holy cow, this is a lot to remember. No. This is not a course, okay? It is an invitation. It is you connecting dots for someone who may not have previously connected those dots. It's you simplifying things that they think are really complicated and you distilling it down into, no. This is so simple. And when we work together, your life is going to be so much better because I will make it simple for you. It's an invitation, okay? It's not a course. It's not a to-do list that they need to go do. Call to action every single episode. I can't say this enough times. Tell them what to do next. Tell them why to do it. All right? Tell them what to do next. Tell them why to do it. Once again, here's what we're going to do, and here's why you're going to do it. And when we work together, it's going to look like this, and here's your next step to make that happen. All right? So step 1, outline it. Step 2, make sure that you are including stories, personality, infuse it with the good stuff that people relate with, okay? They want to know where you have failed before. They want to know where your clients have failed before. They don't only want the Instagram flashy, polished version. They want to know, oh my gosh, I'm among friends here because I'm not perfect and they're not perfect either. That feels good. So do that. Make sure that that's in your outline, step 2. And then step 3 is record it, okay? Imperfectly record it. You can even use your phone. I was going to grab my phone, but I don't have it in here on my desk. I want to grab my phone and show you. You can record it on your iPhone. You do not need fancy software to do this. You do not need a fancy podcast mic like I have in front of me right now, but you don't need that because iPhones have really, really, really good sound these days. And something like Adobe Podcast, which is an AI, I think it's AI. I don't know. Is everything AI these days? I'm pretty sure. It's a software that is very inexpensive that you can run your sound through and it will correct it and make it sound amazing, even if it wasn't amazing to start with. So don't overthink the sound quality. Don't overthink the mic. Don't overthink any of that. Just be in a quiet room that's not echoey if possible. No distractions. If you mess up, pause, repeat yourself, say it again. It's all going to be okay. Everything's editable. No big deal. Speaking of which, step 4 is to hire a podcast editor to do this for you and to make some cover art so that your secret podcast looks really good in the podcast feed that we're going to talk about getting it into next. I know that you are smart and capable and can figure out how to edit this podcast. I totally get that. I know that you are smart and capable and can get into Canva and make cover art for this podcast. I also know that there are freelancers on Upwork.com that would love to do that for you for $5 or $10 and you not worry about it at all. So my preference would be for your time and sanity is for you to hire somebody to do it and do it really well and for you not to worry about figuring out the tech to do that. And I know that that is a huge roadblock for a lot of people that want to do it. They're like, I could do a podcast. I've been a guest on podcasts. I love podcasting. I listen to podcasts myself, but like the tech is so hard and I don't want to spend time editing them. Of course not. And you shouldn't and don't, okay? Because that's something you can very inexpensively outsource. So please, please do that. Step 4, go to Upwork.com and hire a podcast editor and somebody to do the cover art for your podcast. That'll be 2 separate people. You go into projects. This is not someone that you're hiring long-term in your business. This is going to be a project. So you go to podcast, you do private podcast editor. There's going to be a bunch of people that pop up on the screen with great reviews that would love to do it for less than $20. You hire them, you let them do that, and it's going to be amazing for you. Same thing with the cover art, okay? For $10 to $15, somebody will make great cover art for you. You want to use a picture of yourself, by the way, have a picture of your face, big and proud, on the cover art of your secret podcast, your private podcast, whatever you're calling it. Again, I want to clarify, most people call this a private podcast, and we'll talk about why that is in a second, but I'm calling mine my secret podcast. And the reason for that is it's kind of secretly embedded into my main podcast, the Profitable Nutritionist Podcast. All right. You're not going to do the tech stuff yourself. You're not going to spend hours on Canva tweaking it and trying out fonts and make it. You're not going to do that. You're not doing that because your time is best spent on the content in the podcast, okay? And it is in making sure that the concepts that you're talking about and the way that you're laying them out are simple and easy to digest and are just going to be like a dog whistle that only your ideal clients can hear. That's your job. Someone making it sound good and making it look good can be outsourced so inexpensively, so you're going to just go to Upwork to do that, and that's going to be great, okay? Then step 5 is to actually set up the tech. Where is this podcast going to get hosted? What is this going to look like, and where's it going to go? So a couple things we need to talk about. Do you already have a software solution like Kajabi, which I love and is my favorite, and I will link that in the description of this episode as well. But do you already use Kajabi? In which case, a private podcast feed or a public podcast feed is included in your software with Kajabi. That's where you send emails from. It's where you host courses for your clients. It's where you have your website. It's also where you can host podcasts. So if you have an all-in-one software solution like that already has functionality for a podcast, you're in business, then you're just going to follow the instructions to upload the finished MP3 files that you're going to get back from your freelancer on Upwork that you didn't have to do yourself. And you're going to upload those and you're going to use the cover art and you're going to do all of the things or have somebody else do it. If you would like to, you can also hire this part out to get it all set up in software you already use. If you don't already have a software that you use for hosting a podcast or that you already pay for rather, then there's options available. The best one, in my opinion, and I've used several, is Hello Audio. So we have a private podcast feed inside the Profitable Nutritionist program that we use Hello Audio for. And when I say private podcast, what I mean is this is a podcast feed that you can't go to Apple or you can't go to Spotify and just search it up and find it, because it is only for students that are paying students inside our program. We have exclusive content that gets released on that podcast. Can you tell that podcasts are amazing? I love podcasts, by the way. But our Hello Audio podcast, which is the private podcast for the program, can only be found when you have the link to get it, because you enrolled in the program and we emailed you the link and gave you the link to get the private podcast. So that is done through Hello Audio, which I think is the best one. There are other services and other softwares that you can use to get that, but I think Hello Audio is a great one. Again, Kajabi has the functionality for a private podcast as well, or a public podcast. Now, for my public podcast, the Profitable Nutritionist Podcast, we use a hosting platform called Buzzsprout, which I also love, but I don't believe that you can do private podcasts on there. So let's talk about the difference between public podcasts, private podcasts, and what you are going to use. Let's talk it through. If you are going to have a public podcast that you want to get discovered on Apple Podcasts, you want it to be searchable, you want somebody on Spotify to randomly find your podcast, then you want it to be probably on something like Buzzsprout. I think you can do a public podcast on Hello Audio, but Buzzsprout is really user-friendly and very inexpensive, so I would recommend that one. But if you want this to be exclusive to your email subscribers, or you want it to be a lead magnet that somebody has to sign up to your email list to get the link to join, and it is private and it is exclusive, then you want to use something like Hello Audio or Kajabi with the private podcast. Okay, so that's kind of the difference between the two. Maybe you want it to be discovered far and wide. There's a use case for that. Maybe you want it to be really exclusive. You decide how you want that to be structured and then choose your tech accordingly. And if you don't want to figure out how to do this yourself, hire somebody on Upwork, again, for less than $20 to get this all set up for you. My friend, we are just not letting tech be a stopping point at all in 2025 and beyond, because it is so easy to get experts to do this very inexpensively. AI is here to help us, and so many platforms to help us do the hard things, so we can't let tech stop us, okay? Hire somebody to help you. Step 6. Now you have outlined, you've recorded, someone else has edited, you or somebody else has set up your feed for your private podcast, your secret podcast, and it is ready to go. Or is it? No, it isn't, because step 6 is that you have to put in strategic episode descriptions and call to action links. Okay, so best practice for a podcast episode is to have whatever you want people to do as the very first thing that they see in the episode description. So you want to have your call to action link. If you want people to book a call with you to get on a discovery call so that you can talk through if they should hire you or if they are a fit for your offer, then that should be the first thing that people see in the description. Gone are the days of having a flowery, like, this is what we're going to talk about in the episode. No, just call to action link at the top so people can clearly see that without even opening up the description of the episode. You want to have that primary call to action at the top. And don't put too many calls to action in these episodes, by the way. There should be one thing for them to do, and that's the thing that you're talking about in the episode. So you're going to make sure that that's all strategic, it's all published, it's polished, it looks good, your cover art is good, you're ready to go, call to action links are prominent, there's like maybe even little arrows pointing people, this is what you do next, this is how you work together, this is how we go to second base together, and then you publish. So exciting! And then it's out there and it's published. And now it's going to be really fun, because step 7, 8, 9, and 10 is get people to your secret podcast or your private podcast. Nobody is going to find this if it is private, by the way, unless you send it to them. Now, if you went the public route, which is totally an option, by the way, you could create a public podcast that teaches something very specific, that goes through all of the steps that I just said, and you could have it be on Buzzsprout or similar as public, and people could find it in Apple Podcasts. And it's just a podcast that doesn't get updated. You're not adding episodes to it. It teaches something very specific, or it has a very specific purpose, and it could be public too. So for that purpose, like, you wouldn't need it to be private. But you clicked on this video or are listening to this episode because you were interested in a private podcast or secret podcast. So I think that it's safe to say that you probably are interested in gating this content for some reason, because that makes sense in your business, which is a great option. But then also you need to get people to it, because nobody's going to find it if it is gated unless you are sending it to them. So you need to promote it to your email list. You need to have this in your email welcome series like I do. So when somebody signs up for my free course, which is my welcome series, they are going to get a lot of information about how to get the profit path Secret podcast, okay? It's all over the place. I'm talking about it all the time. When somebody wants free content from me, they're like, what's your best stuff? Well, you should go get my secret podcast. We're sending that out, all right? You can run ads to it. There's so many different things that you can do. It can be all over your website. It can be in your email signature that you send emails from, like your personal email or your professional email, all of the places, your LinkedIn profile. I mean, we could go on and on. Get this secret podcast or private podcast out into the world, because it is honestly the most high conversion content that you can make. And caveat to that, you're not trying to go viral with this private podcast. You may not even get that many downloads or listens to it. However, somebody that listens start to finish is such a high intent lead for you. This is someone that is very likely to hire you, to want to have a conversation with you, or to take the next step with you. Because this type of content is such a different strategy than trying to go viral, than trying to get followers, than trying to find more people on the internet to be in your sphere. It's not that. This is conversion content. It's going to have less eyeballs on it, but the ones that are there are really paying attention. You're developing a lot of trust with them, and they are showing you that they appreciate that trust and have a high intent of purchasing or of working with you someday, because they are moving through this content that only someone who is considering taking the next step with you would do. So let's sum it up. Land this plane. A secret podcast is one of the most powerful pieces of content you can create if you are ready. This is not something for beginners in business at all. It's also not something to hide behind while you avoid marketing. You can't just create something like this and think it's going to go do the heavy lifting for you, because you actually have to get eyeballs onto this content. This is your conversion content. It's not your awareness content, okay? But if you are already helping people, you are already out there telling people, yes, this is what I do. Come to my website, come to wherever it is that you're sending people already, then you definitely could scale that trust with this very powerful conversion mechanism. It is so effective. It is an evergreen strategy that you don't need to revisit on a monthly or even yearly basis, okay? It is simple. You create an outline, you record the episodes, you get it edited, upload, promote, and then it's done. And it is an asset that will work in your business evergreen, meaning it just is a set it and forget it for years. Now, that is a very good return on investment for time, my friend. All right, again, if you want to go see what this looks like behind the scenes, grab my free course, the Profitable Practice Philosophies free course. The link is below in the description of this video or audio episode if you're listening to the audio version. And when you sign up for the free course, you will get instant access to the Profit Path private podcast, secret podcast, ultra secret. Just kidding. But you'll see exactly how I structured it, how the episodes connect to my content, and why it converts so well. You're going to hear these calls to action that I talk about in this piece of content, so you can see how it is working out in the real world, out in the wild. And then when you are ready to get help creating strategic content like this with emails and podcasts and offers that actually convert, and a process that actually guarantees that your clients get results when they work with you, without selling your soul to social media, without burning yourself out, come and join us inside the TPN program, because that is exactly what we do here at the Profitable Nutritionist. We create sustainable, profitable businesses for wellness practitioners that don't want to be Insta-famous. The link to join us in the program is also linked up in this episode. We would love to see you inside. All of that magic is linked up in the description. And if you are ready, I will meet you in this episode, where we're going to actually listen to one of my clients inside the TPN program who has had some major shifts in her business and wants to tell you all about it.